Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Digital Pieces. I want to give a disclaimer that this podcast is for information and educational usage only. We're not here for you to recreate the crimes or recreate the scenarios that we describe, so please do not do that. So, in today's episode, we're going to answer or try to answer the question: is our social media usage and decisions derived by free will or an addiction? So let me explain. As a millennial, my generation grew up with the onset of technology. AOL chat rooms. I'm originally from California, so I remember speaking with people in New York, Chicago, and that was a big thing. Because before the chat rooms, I can only speak to people in California. I can only speak to people in the Bay Area where I'm from. So the chat rooms was a whole new world where you could speak to people in different locations. Then there was Ask Jeeves. And depending on your age, you're like, huh? Ask Jeeves was the precursor to Google. So it was a search engine that you use to look for information. And then there was Yahoo. Yahoo reigned supreme at that time. You had Yahoo groups derived on different areas. I looked at cryptography because I was very interested in that. My background is in computer science. And when I was younger, I was like, okay, I'm going to become a cryptologist. And while it is extremely interesting, I realized very quickly I did not want to do that for the rest of my days. Also, growing up, I remember when Amazon was merely an online bookstore. I remember purchasing my books when I was in college from Amazon because they were cheaper than the campus bookstore. Also, Blockbuster and VHS video home systems also reign supreme. And again, depending on your age, you're like, Blockbuster. You might have seen the blue card with the yellow letters, but it was a thing. And Blockbuster was so prevalent at that time. You could get videos, you could get video games, whatever you pretty much wanted digitally, you can get it at Blockbuster. So, in today's episode, we will explore an active case that seeks to answer the question I posed above. Currently, social media giants are being sued in Los Angeles County for targeting social media ads against children. The social media companies in question are YouTube and Meta. Now, I also want to mention that TikTok and Snap were originally a part of the suit, but they settled quickly. They settled out of court. They're like, hey, take your money and go. The case centers around a young adult with the initials KJM who alleges that the use of social media at an early age made them addicted to technology where they had suicidal and depressive thoughts. The suit also alleges the addictive aspect was done deliberately to boost profits at these companies. Now, if this suit is successful, this will bypass the First Amendment shield in Section 230, which protects tech companies from liability for material posted on their platforms. The case draws similarities to the tobacco company trials that led to a settlement in the 1980s, 1988, excuse me, exact, requiring these companies to pay billions in healthcare costs and restrict marketing targeting minors. Because at once upon a time, tobacco, cigarettes, it was cigarettes do not kill you. There's no harmful aspects of smoking. But after this trial, it was revealed that yes, smoking is very bad for you. You should not do it. And so, again, it led to restrict marketing towards minors. It should be noted that this case is using a bellwether trial with KGM and two other plaintiffs, and this is a test case to determine how the case will play out on both sides, the defense and prosecution, in front of a jury, and determine damages between YouTube and Meta. Now, I should make note that YouTube and Meta are not being tried together, they're being tried separately. So, if the jury determines damages, they can set one specific amount for YouTube and another specific amount for Meta. Now, Meta conducted a study called Project Mist that surveyed 1,000 teens and their parents on their social media usage. The findings showed that Meta knew children who experience adverse events like trauma and stress were particularly vulnerable for addiction, and parental supervision and controls made little impact. So, this shows that Meta was aware that their ads could potentially be harmful to children. Also, and on the Google side, there was internal documents that compared their products to a casino where these employees described Instagram like a drug and they were basically pushers. So this does not look good for them, right? Of having these communications knowing that this is could potentially harm children. This is the first case of this type to be heard in front of a jury and could change how children are handled on social media platforms. Now, the crux of the case is the plaintiff alleges that social media was addictive and caused mental health challenges. However, YouTube and Meta are coming back and they're arguing and they're saying, hey, we have safeguards in place on how children can use our platforms and we protect them. Now, you may think that the KGM case is a singular case, but it's not. For instance, in New Mexico, opening statements began a month ago alleging that Meta doesn't protect young users against sexual exploitation after an undercover investigation found that children were susceptible to this type of exploitation. Also, a federal bellwether trial will start in June of this year in Oakland, California, and it will be the first to represent school districts that are suing social media platforms over harming children. Also, 40 district attorneys in various states have filed lawsuits against Meta, claiming that the social media website harms young people and contributes to the young people mental health crisis by deliberately designing features on Instagram and Facebook that are addictive to children. Now, the social media issue is not a United States issue alone. In France, French lawmakers have banned social media for children under 15, which will be enforced in the next school year. In Australia, social media companies have revoked access to 4.7 million children accounts since Australia has banned social media for students under 16 years of age, and the British government is also considering banning young teenagers from social media. Now, I know in the United States, many states are adding a cell phone ban for students when they're in school so they can focus on their studies and not doom scrolling on their phone. From my perspective, I think that there is validity to this claim of social media being addictive. As an adult, I have to monitor myself on social media because depending on the day, I could find myself doom scrolling. I could find myself going down rabbit holes, and I look up, and 2 to 3 hours have passed. Now, I'm an adult, as I said. Imagine a child who is doing this. Also, with the misinformation that is on the internet, you have to discern okay, what is correct and what isn't. Do I believe that there should be additional safeguards for children? Yes, I do. I believe that children should be 16 years of age to use social media because then they're going towards adulthood and they can better grasp social media. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't have the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the TikToks when I was a child, and I am so thankful for that because myself and people I grew up with, if we had our shenanigans online to be memorialized forever, because that's the thing, when things are on the internet and when they're on these social media platforms, they are never deleted. You cannot delete it. It lives forever. So if those shenanigans was available forever, it would be very cringeworthy. So I am curious to see how this case goes with KGM in Los Angeles County, and then also the other cases in Oakland, New Mexico, and all across the nation with the 40 district attorneys and Britain, excuse me. I'm curious to see how this will shape how children use social media. So now I ask you, is our social media usage and decisions derived by free will, or are we all addicted to social media? I would love to hear your comments. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.